So hi and welcome. I'm Erica Glessing, and you are here with me today on the Erica Glessing Show. I'm very blessed to have with me the lovely Rebecca Hulse, who is home. Oh, she's actually home for 5 minutes, and I got her.
You did that to me. It's true. It's not very often I get to be here in my wonderful home, and I'm here. And you did. You taught me, so I'm happy to be here. Hi, Erica. Hi, everyone.
I know, one of the things that Rebecca and I were just talking about, and we were jokingly calling it business denial. And I was talking to someone and they were saying, well, I have a website. I don't really have a business yet. I was like, well, what can they do on the website? And they're like, well, they can hire me.
Oops, you're in business.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that, like that whole thing of like, healers and people who love to heal, and then they hear the word business and they go, ah!
Yeah, so I mean, here's the thing. If you're watching this right now, don't run away. Don't walk out the door. Don't mute us.
We're super fun.
But there is this thing that business is supposed to be scary or difficult. Or really, what's the point of view that you put in place about business that's not even really true?
Yeah.
Would be the first thing. And the other thing, like people have so many conceived ideas about what they've decided business has to be, or what's required, or what it means if you're in business. And none of those actually have to be true. It's all part of this big farce to make something harder than it needs to be.
Well, I just remembered, like, in growing up in my family, like, I was the writer and the songwriter, and I was the dreamer. So I was the one out on my bike, out riding my bike, pulling over and writing poems down. And my brother was the one that made money. And so he could, when we were kids, he could go to a Stanford football game, and he'd come home with, like, $200. This is, like, decades ago. And he would, like, find things on one side and sell them on the other. I mean, I don't know how he did it. I know it's all on the up and up. He would take all the persimmons in our tree, and we really hated them. They were so disgusting. I know some people love persimmons, but they would like fall and splat. And so it was just like, ew. And he would sell them. And he just could basically do this and money showed up. Like he just had it, like from age Monopoly. He would just crush. And then there was me. And so I got raised in this environment of the creative one. And so I'm curious for our listeners, how many of you were raised where, that whole thing of being in business had just so much stigma on it. And Rebecca, why don't you tell us a little bit of what's fun and how you've done all this with so much joy?
Well, first, I would actually like to put a question back on you, Erica, because as the creative one, as the rumor dreamer, I do believe now you're running a successful publishing company and have a lot of other enterprises on the way and releasing best-selling books like clockwork every month, and that wouldn't be a business at all, would it?
I know, right? And you know what? Wow. I think I still judge me against my brother.
Good way to limit you.
Thank you, because
yeah,
I would think about things like I would make $15,000 as a news reporter, and he was younger than me, and he would pay $15,000 in taxes. And then I got up to making like $75,000 still writing, and he would pay $75,000 in taxes because he was up to $800,000 or something. And I would always kind of sit there, and I guess there was like a shadow of, I guess I had accepted that, didn't I? That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, so the other thing is, could your brother ever do what you do, and could you ever do what your brother could do?
No.
Right.
Well,
so
actually, I could sort of do some of what he does, but not like he does.
Exactly. You couldn't do it the exact same way.
No,
Not that that is right or wrong. You're simply different.
Right.
And this is the thing that I see all the time with those people that are the creatives, they are the dreamers, they do see this different world. And that right there is the key piece. They see this different world. So would that not also apply to the way you do business? And for what reason would you cram yourself into someone else's reality or viewpoint or structure of doing business? You have a capacity to do it in a totally different way.
Wow, thank you. Yeah.
And so that doesn't mean that you ignore taxes or you don't get an accountant or you don't set up your business and create a sole proprietorship or whatever you need. That doesn't mean that you get the systems in place to run your business with ease. And if you don't have a capacity for that, ask someone that does. Hire someone that does. Ask for someone to show up in your world that can help you with that. You don't actually have to be the one to do it all, even if you are the person with the vision.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if someone's just starting out with their business for the very first time and they're just getting started, like you and I have already kind of had some amazing, the last 2 years have just been amazing.
But don't you love starting? Like, that's got to be one of the most fun periods in the business where it's just starting and you're so excited.
I know, right?
Thing, and you're in love with it too. Like, you're like, this is the coolest thing in the world. Like, you're excited about everything. And like, and that isn't a generative energy at all that you can use.
It's like, where is it that, like, that beginning energy to me is really exciting. And I think some people, like, I was looking at all the things I put into place this last year as far as, like, autoresponder and online scheduler and, like, a PR device. I have a newswire service that I use to get things out into the media, and I paid for it. I just paid the money, and it blasts everything into the media. And then people are like, how come you're so publicized? And I'm like, it's systems. But I just kept asking the question, like, what could be better? What could be easier? And I don't think my systems, like, there's a couple pieces of my business that are still running in ways that I'm not really comfortable with. Like, and so tell me a little bit about that, like putting systems into place that for a healer that would be ease that you could do, like, when you're just kind of getting going.
Well, I mean, so the first things you need to look at is, how are people going to know about you, and how are you going to accept money, and what are you going to do after that? That's really like the essential pieces of business. So like, okay, how are people going to find out about me? And like, then you get to choose. And so then, okay, so there's this whole world of resources that comes to you then. So you could go on social media, you could get a website, you could be put in the phone book, you could do word of mouth, and hey, do you know anyone that's looking for this kind of healing?
Right.
Or you can go in a newspaper, or there's all these different avenues. So then the real part is making a choice. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to be everywhere.
Yeah.
You don't have to like or do all of it. Just, okay, which of these pieces do I need to do today?
And I have to tell people too, like, I was told, you know, the whole thing about you must have a website. And what I did with Happy Publishing for the first 5 years is I just said, go to Amazon and type in Erica Glessing. And there was all the books. And now we have all those lovely bestseller insignias. And it was like, I didn't have happypublishing.net. And my business was thriving. It was like, it was okay. And then about halfway through last year, one of my authors said, this is just too much. You need to have a website. And so I got with her and her vision. It was perfect. We created a compensation plan for it, and she built it. And it wasn't free. I didn't do it free. I did compensation. I did a very high quality person. And then, you know, we did some compensation for it. So it wasn't something where I said, I'm going to get this done for as little as possible. I said, I'm going to have the right person do this who gets me.
And the main thing about that is that you never stopped your business just because you didn't have one element.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah.
No, you didn't. And that is the thing, like with creating a business, is you never stop, you never give up, and you never quit. No matter which resources or elements you do or don't have, just because you have a website doesn't mean anyone's going to go there.
Well, that's the thing too, is nothing's a panacea. And honestly, just because you've written a book doesn't mean anyone's going to buy it. So
also true.
You have to like once you become a #1 best-selling author, what Rebecca did, because she became a #1 best-selling author last February, I think. And so a year ago, February. And so basically now on her materials, it says Rebecca Hulse, millennial, jet setting. And it also says #1 bestseller right there on bio. And so it got integrated into all of your stuff, but it didn't get there by itself. You had to actually technically change the words. You had to actually do actions inspired by the success, because once you succeed, everyone sort of thinks you'll do something and then just like sit there and eat bonbons. And life isn't really like that.
And I don't know about you, but sitting on my ass eating bonbons doesn't sound like the right way for me to spend my time. I mean, like, we live in an action-inspired universe. You choose, you do an action, and then the universe responds with more. Like, that is the way that our world works. So that is, like, really with the questions for your business of, like, how are people going to know about you? How are you going to get paid? Which is basically, what do I need to do to set up my business? And depending on the level of I guess, like, intensity coming in of, like how many different revenue streams you have, or how many different clients or offers, or whatever it is that you're doing, like, depends on the complexity of those systems. If you're a healer and you're studying out and you probably have space for 20 sessions a week, you can probably get away with a really simple system. If you're dealing with thousands of book orders every day, then you probably need slightly more of a complicated system. So you just need to look at what you're doing there to set yourself up for it to be ease. And then the last question of, now what? Is what we're talking about here. Like, okay, you have a website. Now what? Right. Okay, you have a best-selling book. Now what?
Now what?
And that's when you start, and that's when the fun stuff comes out. Like, oh, I could go on TV to get this book out. Or, oh, I could then go and create a product that relates to this creation I've done. Or, oh, I make sure I should really call all of my clients a week after our session and say, hey, how you doing? To get repeat business and build up your client base and your relationship.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that is where the question of, like, once people know about you and you're getting paid, the end of the line doesn't stop there.
Right.
How are you going to continue creating your business?
Nice. Thank you. I love it. So what's something else that we could share with people? One of the things that I love watching you fly around the globe so much. So one of the things we talked about, I think you were in Paris and Florence and United States, and oh my goodness, like, tell us a little bit about that shift into global and what that's been like for you, and kind of that whole concept of global versus brick and mortar hit sit in your house.
It's so funny. I sat on the plane 2 days ago and was a little in awe of my crazy, wonderful life. I just finished watching this movie about this wonderful creator. The movie's called Joy, with Jennifer Lawrence, I think, is in it. And just seeing what she created, like, in her life and in that movie, and I was like, wow, I'm sitting here on an airplane in one of the most luxurious settings you can possibly have in the world, flying home from a 6-week tour around Paris, Florence, Istanbul, Venice. And this is what I do. This is literally my life, is going around the world, seeing where and who and what I can change and contribute to.
What did you do in Istanbul? Tell us about that.
We did some joint business classes actually with Simo Milosis.
Mhm.
So it was just a quick little flying visit in. Istanbul is a crazy city. I love the way they drive. The lane markers are a guideline. I mean, they say 3, but you can pretty much fit 5 across. Like it's like an hour. You don't need to go on a roller coaster ride or anything around the world. You just need to get into a cab in Istanbul, Turkey. It is what? No, I really love it though. Like and they're so skillful. They have like an entire awareness of exactly how large their car is and exactly the kind of gap. Like, and you literally might have this much of a gap in the other car, and it was just like, wow, look at this. If I could drive here, I think I could drive anywhere in the world. This is amazing. So if you're ever in a stitch or like need help or can't get out of the jam, like you need to find a driver from Istanbul.
Wow, I love it.
Set you straight.
I love it. What do you think if someone desires to work globally, but they haven't gone there yet? What can you advise them, like, to shake that up a little bit?
Well, I think the thing about working globally is that you have to expand your sphere of awareness. You have to start including the world in your thoughts, in your life. Do you know what's happening around the world? Do you know what's going on in other countries? Do you know the time zones? Like, when's a good time to call Paris? When's a good time to call India? When's a good time to call the States? When's a good time to call New Zealand? Who do you know in other countries that you haven't acknowledged, that you're aware of, or that you have a connection to? And I mean, the other thing is to get out there, get over there. The best way to network with other countries and people in different industries is to be there. So, I mean, really, that's how it all started.
So tell us what country I'm talking to you in right now.
I'm at home in New Zealand.
So New Zealand.
Yes.
So I have New Zealand, Spain. I had Amara Bramley on from Spain. Mm-hmm. And then Sweden, I had Johanna Pansara from Sweden. And then I had so this is just in the first beginning of the show. Like, I think it's been in 7 countries already. And I think what I'm seeing is just this demand that we connect to each other and, like what you were saying, like nourish each other and help each other. Because one of the things that I noticed with healing businesses is people can start feeling like they have to do PR in their neighborhood.
Right.
And so what I have noticed to be really interesting is when you can start looking at what you can do in a Skype session, or what you can do in a session over the phone, or like you said, get in a plane and fly around. You know, stand on that sort of consciousness of connecting with others regardless of where they live.
And I mean, the other thing too, especially if you have a brick and mortar business, or you're in some kind of specialized local service, is what would it take to expand my business globally? Like, what if this didn't have to be something that was limited to one location? What if it had lots of different locations? Where in the world would you like to be? Where in the world could this contribute to?
Nice.
And so if you didn't have to limit yourself to one suburb, one city, one country, one hemisphere, or one continent, what could you truly choose and create? And the other question I would ask is this big enough for you? There's nothing like realizing something could be greater and that you desire it to inspire.
Yeah, I think that was one of my key learnings for Happy Publishing. Was so interesting. I was working on a book recently, and I wasn't getting a lot of easy yeses into it. And I think sometimes what people do is they either cut their prices or they lower their offering to try to say, why am I not hitting it? I should charge less, or I should. Well, I did the opposite. And I said, what is this book asking of me that I've been unwilling to ask? And I started going to the finest thought in the world on this topic. And it's not out yet, but I went to I actually went higher. And I got yes, 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 and it's done. It was
right. And so everything is the opposite of what it appears to be too. Like if you didn't have to function from conclusion of this is what you have to do when this happens, then look at what you can create and what can show up. It's entirely different.
Yeah.
It has entirely different results.
Yeah.
And
but don't be afraid to ask people you're super attracted to playing with. Like,
right.
I asked Rebecca to be on my show, and we had just done an event together, and then we had just done a book together.
Book launch.
Yeah, we did the book launch for The Power of Releasing Judgment, and Rebecca wrote a beautiful chapter, and she also wrote a beautiful blog, and had a lot of fun with our launch. It went beautifully, and so one could assume, well, I wouldn't want to ask Rebecca again. I should, I wouldn't want to bother her.
She's busy.
She's always on an airplane.
I bothered her. I've asked her for too much.
Yeah, exactly. All that crap. And I just didn't do that. I said, hey, I'm doing a show. Do you want to be on it? And you're like, yes. And I'm like, okay, cool. And you're like, when? And she's like, okay, cool. And we did it. It was like, yes. And we're doing it. And this means really what we're letting consciousness be itself. We're letting people who want to be nourished by Rebecca come to my show and listen to her wisdom in a way that, like, it usually when it's a yes in this bigger yes. Like, it's like you think it's personal, like you're asking for this, it's just for you. But actually, usually, don't you think there's something bigger sometimes when the yeses happen? Like, go to Istanbul. Woo, my life's changed.
And I have to say, that trip to Istanbul, I got some of the greatest awareness that changed my life from the simplest of tools.
Wow.
And I mean, this is where the tool of you get it when you get it, if you get it, comes into place. I've heard one of these tools like 1,000 times. Like, yeah, I know this tool. It's great. I'm blah, blah, blah. Because I'm blah, blah, blah is a question, right? And so this conversation over lunch, I was talking to Simone. I was like, okay, I don't get this. What is this going on? Like, this needs to change. I need more awareness around this. And we have this conversation, and I was like, oh my God, I'm paying for lunch. Wow. This is incredible. Like, and just those are the kinds of things. I mean, like, you don't go on these trips, or you don't create these projects without an awareness of what it will create. Like, you don't go, oh, this is a great idea for me to go to Istanbul because this and this and this and this. No, you just go, okay, I need to be at this class. Great. Okay, how am I going to get there? What am I going to do? What am I going to choose? And then it shows up the way it shows up, which is never how you imagine. Ever. Well, I growing up on a TV set, I knew that I would do my show when I had the perfect videography team. I had a perfect hair and makeup person. Where were they today? I had the perfect set with the perfect banner in the back. I had the perfect, like, because I did a show a couple years ago, and I had like a set, and I had a team, and I had, oh my gosh, the cameras alone were probably like $20,000. I mean, it was an insanely beautiful room. And then it was so funny because it didn't actually work. Like, it had all the elements that I thought I needed to have a show work, and it didn't actually work. And it wasn't a bad show. I mean, but it just didn't work. There was just something about it. And this time, Rebecca, the show, said it was going to be boring. And when I got all tripped out about that, you know what I got? It was so fun. I got, there will be different evolutions of it. Right, of course.
And I think that's kind of true for our business people and our healers. Like, it doesn't have to only be exactly the way you think it should be now. Let it exist and then play with it, and then let it exist and then play with it, right? It's like, it's a very different energy.
And here's the thing, like, things will always grow, develop, change. Like, businesses can look really shaky, kid and cute, or like ugly baby at the beginning. I mean, my first website was terrible. horrible, but I had it and I did it and I put it out there and it was the best thing I could put out there at the time.
Exactly.
And I was proud of it. And
Yeah.
I'm very proud and grateful for it. And I also know that it looked hideous now. And I'm very grateful for how beautiful it looks now. And it's also going to go through another change soon.
Is it?
It is.
It's excited about it. Wow.
Yeah, well, I have these beautiful new pictures from Stephanie Richardson that she took in South Africa for me, and they just need to see a little bit more light of day than on the back of a book cover or as social
hard drive
pictures. Yeah,
on a hard drive. How much of our listeners? One of the things I told people, I was also doing a coaching call, and I said, have you asked for money today?
Right.
And she went, huh. And I said, did you ask for money yesterday from anyone to do anything? She went, huh. So tell me about that ask and how can people get over that fear of asking for money?
Well, I think also with this fear of asking, it's a little bit of bullshit. I really do. Really. Are you afraid of it not happening, or are you afraid that it will happen? And you go, damn, that was easy. Why have I not been doing that before?
Wow.
Why isn't a very good question, because it puts you in this circle and you'll never get out of the loop, because there is no answer to why you just did. And it's just a matter of starting. Like, are you actually truly willing to ask for what you desire? We live in an ask and you shall receive universe, and you don't want to ask. Interesting. So do you actually truly desire money? And whatever you've decided about money, you might want to start looking at changing that if that's something you really desire to have in your life. Because if you have a point of view about money that says that you shouldn't have it for any reason, then you will create your reality with no money. And it can be the most weirdest point of view. I saw my grandfather had lots of money, and then everyone wanted him to be killed off. So I've decided I never wanted to have my relatives who loved me want to kill me off. So I won't have money. Like, the weirdest, most insane story that you might have just thought in one instant, one time, somewhere that you can no longer access cognitively.
Right.
And it will stick you.
We had one that showed up in one of the sessions where they were a queen in another lifetime, and they couldn't solve world hunger. And they had to witness poverty, even though they were wealthy. And they were like, I'll never be wealthy again. And we had to look at that energy of those vows. And, the vow of poverty ran through my genetics really good.
And that's what there's wonderful things like the tools of access consciousness and the bars and whatever change and energy work you use that works for you. I personally love and use the tools of access consciousness. They work a treat for me, but that's what these tools are about. It's about like, okay, cool. So this is going on for me. Like, acknowledge it. You can't change anything if you're still in denial that it's even happening.
Yeah.
So like, okay, I do have this thing where money is like not happening for me. It doesn't exist. It's not in my life. Cool. Okay. So who or what would I have to have in my life to change it? Like, is it a tool that I could use? Is it a session I need to have? What is that would actually change this? And universe.
Oh, isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Like, isn't that nice that we don't have to do it all ourselves?
It is, unless you're a control freak, and then that thought just totally freaks every single control freak out.
Right, because it's so important that you learn it all yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you got help with it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and so, I mean, I'm personally a control freak, and I've been learning the wonderful gift of letting other people contribute to me. And it's seriously, like, control freakdom is overrated. Like, really overrated.
I know. You know, Rebecca, you know what? One of the things that's so much fun about having you as a guest is you're so young and you know so much already, and it cracks me up. Like, I still work on that because I like everything done perfectly.
Yes. And if you add control freak to perfectionism, to wanting to get it right, to you have a full-on concoction for stopping yourself completely at the end of the day you desire.
I really feel lucky because I do get workarounds. Like, the product I use on my hair, it's called Messy Hair. I'm not joking. And it's so cool because I put all this product in my hair, so I feel good because I've done my hair. And then I'm like, that is so funny. It's called Messy Hair because when I used to try to straighten it and get it perfect, and now I get it wet and I messy hair it. And then it's so funny, and it's like my look, and I can live with it. Like,
right.
For me, like, so I think there are workarounds on perfectionism.
You do. You have to work around yourself. That's what you do. You have to, like, trick, manipulate, cajole, tease, like, inspire. You do have to work around. I mean, you consider that you're your own worst enemy, and you're the only person that can stop and limit you. I mean, eventually, you may just get on your own side.
Wow.
That isn't something that seems to happen overnight. I know.
I got energy on the Ask one. You know, I'm psychic, right? Well, no, we aren't psychic. I got a bunch of energy hitting on the Ask one. So, talk to me. Pretend I'm like this woo-woo healer. I work magic with my hands. Medical intuitive. I can, like, you know, do bar. I can't actually do bars, but it's not my capacity. But if I'm that person that I'm just feeling that energy from, and saying to someone, I have a product, I would like to offer it to you to buy, help me with that a little bit more. Help me with that, like, shift into being comfortable with, because I love the way you do it. You'll be like, you know, you might love my business offering and blah, blah, blah. Like, you have such a fun way of it.
You may never actually hear me say that I have this business offering for you and it's going to be this price. Like, so here's the thing first, of what language have you decided that you need to use to be in business?
Uh-huh.
And this isn't to mean you be woo-woo and say, I would like a contribution for my healing and it will be 5 wishes. Like, it's not the way that you're going to end up working. It doesn't mean that if you're an intuitive medical healer that you would then need to go, I have this business offer for you. It's a session. It will be this amount of time and your investment will be blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, that's obviously not congruent. But if this was Erica, she could say, hey, I do these wonderful sessions. They start with a question of, what if you could get anything out of this?
What would it be? Yeah.
And if I could contribute and change anything for you, I would love it. My sessions are $250 an hour, and they can be anywhere from 30 minutes to 3 hours. And I have availability on this and this day. I'm here if you'd like to
feel that, everyone who's listening. Did you hear that? Didn't that sound lovely? Yeah.
And here's the thing, like, I wasn't trying to be someone else. I wasn't trying to be the successful businesswoman or the businesswoman with an offer. It was simply like, also, so there's 2 parts to this. I'm interrupting myself to say something else.
Oh, good, because I usually do that.
Too many things going up in here. So, I mean, first things first, you need to be congruent with you. You still need to be you while you're in business. So, actually, Simone Milasas and Dr. Dane here did a fabulous Times radio show on being you in business. One of the best that I've seen. If you search Times Joy of Business Dane here, you'll probably come up with it, or maybe we can put a link below here. But also, so first, like, you have to be congruent with you in business. You don't need to say a bunch of weird, languages and things that aren't your way of speaking.
Yeah.
And then the other part of that is to tap into the person that you're inviting and look at what they can receive.
Yeah.
And then this is not to be in judgment and go, oh, Erica is a single mom. I know her. She has a business. She's probably not going to be able to afford a session with me. That would be the conclusion of looking at what she could and couldn't receive.
Right.
Rather than, what is Erica willing to receive? Is there something I have that she would love to know about?
Right.
And how would she need to hear it?
Right. And I just love what you just said. And what it brings up for me is actually something, I don't think it's that point, but maybe it was kind of in a circuitous way, was some people would love to be your client and some people would have children home from school on break. Some people would love to be your client and some people are not ready to be your client. And some people, when you tell them you're available, are going to get really excited and are going to generate it, but they may not choose you for 6 more months. And so one of the things that's been the best thing in my business for my business is I am absolutely unattached to you. Choose me to publish you. Is this book right for you? Is this book not right for you? Is it light for you? Is it not light for you? Have I ever come at anybody and said, oh, that's the worst mistake you could make not to be in my book? I don't come at people like that. I'm very much interested in this is the financial contribution. This is the opportunity. I do talk like that with my business. That's the book business.
That's the way that works for Erica to talk.
Right. The healing stuff that I do, I don't know that I've really put together the right words to ask about that. And what I find as a result, here you can facilitate me a little bit, is that people come to me for free all the time.
Okay, so welcome to the healing world. Everyone wants a freebie because it's all about the energy and you can't see it. So therefore, it's not worth any money. However, here's a great question for all the healers out there in the world. Which sessions created the most change for the client and you? The ones that were free or the ones that they invested in themselves?
Right. And how much ease is it for the other person when they're paying? There's so much more ease for them to take what you're giving them. I just kind of saw this congruence there where I saw someone who likes me. I work with her dog and she gets into these things between her boyfriend and her dog. And I do this facilitation with her. I can't quite put words on it yet, but it's really interesting. And there's a fee and she pays it. And to be honest, at this point, all she does is PayPals me and books, and I send her my link to my calendar. It's so effortless. And she always will come back. She'll always come back. But there's no effort. There's no effort around it. I don't have to explain it. It's I've done it a few times. She loves the work. It changes her life. And then when she's ready for more change, she comes back. And I think that's so interesting because I don't know that I certainly don't have a website for that.
Okay, and that's wrong based on what?
I know. I think I'm more saying for people who think they need to have this or that in place, have the flow of exchange.
And that's really if I could control that everyone could get something out of this conversation, which is not true, and I just anyway.
I want to change the world, Rebecca. Come on. Are you saying I can't change the world? No, go ahead.
No, I'm saying I can't control the world. There's a very difference. I can change it. I just can't control it.
Okay, so if I was a fairy and I could grant your wish, it would be that
everyone could get this one thing out of.
Okay, what's that?
It would be that there is no right or wrong way to do anything. There is no conclusion that you have to function from, that you have to have, that it has to be this certain way, that it has to show up like this. There is no prerequisites, rules, or requirements for how you need to do business being here. The only requirement, and it's not even that, it's just more of a request, is that you just start. And if you have started, then you keep going. And if you are keeping on going, you add more.
Right. Now, I was just going to ask you one more question, then we should probably wrap it up because I'm sure we're going to go on forever. We could just talk like days and days and days. There are people for whom luxury is a challenge. So there are people for whom showing up with jewelry and having wealth around them and carrying wealth with them and accepting it as part of their life is a challenge. Can you just kind of tune into that energy of that and help us unravel that a little bit?
Okay, so here's the first question. Is money for your being or is it for your body? Does an infinite being require money?
No.
Great. Yeah. So if your money is only for your body and for creating ease with your body, what would make your body happy?
Wow.
And so
and it's
really,
funny because it's not like I haven't heard that before. And I think sometimes I just get on the habit trail of repeated thoughts. And when you said it right then, it was like, I did get some things that I didn't think I had anymore, which was, I thought it cleared all that out. And it just darkened here. It was very interesting. The lighting just shifted. I don't know if you can tell, but I got this intuition of the body as dirty, like that as being dirty or less than or, oh, wow, right?
which is not what the entire base of religion and spirituality has been based on.
And sex.
Right? Being is the higher form. Your body is a worthless piece of shit. Poor bodies. Like, can you just hug your body and say sorry to it right now? Like, I'm sorry, body, for perpetrating that point of view on you. Like, you're wonderful. Like, let me dress you up and nurture you and clean you up and worship, adore you again. Like, to me, that would be the first thing. Like, okay, so money isn't for you, it's for your body. Number one. And then I would start to look at those points of views. Like, do challenge yourself to walk around with the amount of money a wealthy person would have in their wallet. Like, do look at, okay, like, walk into a store, walk into Bloomingdale's and go, okay, I'm gonna stay in the store until I feel comfortable being in this section. Like, go into the mink section, go into the jewelry section, go where the expensive makeup is, or go up to Prada and stay there and browse around, have a conversation with the shop assistant, look at the things, and stay here until you realize that you could have anything in the store if you truly desired it. No matter how long it took, no matter how long you had to put it on lay-by, any credit cards you'd have to use, or whatever it was, stay in there until you get that you could have anything in here if you truly desired it. And you might find that you don't desire that many things anymore until you go to Europe, and then there's Etro, and there's Leatherstone, and there's Crystal.
I've been in a hotel room one time with Rebecca, and she didn't travel totally lightly. You got some fun things with you, don't you? You travel with some fun things.
I do. I just came back from this trip, and there is antique markets in Paris that are the most beautiful things ever. So I came back with fabric from Turkey and cashmere from Galeries Lafayette, and then a new piece of jewelry from Florence. And then in Paris, I bought this most adorable little stand of what are they called? Prohibition books.
Oh.
So it's a set of books that are antique, but it's actually, you open it up, and inside is a place for your bourbon. And it's just one of the most adorable things I've seen. And it's I don't even care how I have to get this home. This is coming home with me. And so, yes, and this is the thing as well. If you're willing to talk to objects of wealth and receive them, they talk back to you. Yeah. No, I was shopping with a bunch of people that are wonderful antique shoppers, and we were having a great time, and no one saw this apart from me. And then after I bought it, they're like, "Where was that? I wanted that. That's so cool. I didn't see that."
It just popped for you.
Exactly. And this is like when you're willing to receive things like that, they go, "Hi, I want to come home with you."
I actually went, Saturday, my daughter and I went shopping in San Francisco, and I found this necklace, and I have to say, it was so interesting, and I looked at all these different necklaces, and I really wanted like a one-of-a-kind thing, like I wanted something handmade. Yeah. So then this necklace found me, and it just jumped, it just jumped out at me. So it's really interesting necklace.
It's gorgeous.
It's kind of really interesting, and then it was she had separated from its earrings, and so then I saw the earrings in a different area. And they were so sad because I don't think anyone would buy the earrings by themselves because they were like subsets of the necklace. And I go, well, I'll buy the earrings also. She's like, oh, okay. And the earrings were like, jumped into my purse. They were like, I want you to buy me. Let's see if I can find them. They were so cute. Oh, yeah. So I have the container. I haven't actually put them on yet because it's just this weekend. Here's the earrings. I'll just show them to you. So they match and they were handmade. So it was really interesting. My daughter and I went from store to store to store to store. And I was just doing exactly what you said. I was just kind of listening.
Yeah.
And I thought I wanted like a gold. I thought I wanted gold too. I had like a gold necklace in my head. And then the one that was a yes was different.
Yeah, and so that's the thing whenever you're creating what you think is a life with more luxury, with more wealth for yourself, you have to get out of your head what that even means. Mm-hmm. That may not be 5-star hotels and traveling everywhere by limo. Like sometimes it's actually having a really great apartment through Airbnb.
Yeah.
Or using Uber like crazy in Paris. It's so fucking easy and awesome, and you're just like, oh, dude, my private driver is here. Like, not even having to go through some service where you have to call them all the time, or they have to wait for you all the time. Like, sometimes you have to look at what's actually truly ease, because ease is different to easy.
Yes, I love it, and thank you so much for coming today. This was so much fun. Tell us, just quickly tell us what you are offering, or what you do have cooking, so I can let people find you for that if you're inclined.
Yeah, I mean, all the latest things you can see from me, you probably need to either be on my email list. So you can go to RebeccaHulse.com. There's a couple of free offers there. I think there's actually still a 3-part Get Out of Judgment series.
Oh, right.
Another little series on creating more ease for yourself through the tools of access consciousness. So you've got 2 choices, 2 different ways of getting in touch with you. So email is probably the most guaranteed way to know what I'm up to. Otherwise, there's my website and also Facebook. I'm definitely always on Facebook.
Yes.
And you can just search for Rebecca Hulse. And I would love to hear from you. I would love to know if you found this interesting, if something popped from you, if you got an aha, if you're inspired. It's always such a great pleasure to have these conversations. I'm so honored that this is what I get to do, and this is what I get to contribute and be. And I'd like to know if that is actually, if it did something for you, or like you never really know. Like you see this, you come on this thing.
Tell us if something was an aha. Let us know. Don't be secretive. Let us know if it moved you or touched you or made you curious about something. And
I mean, I would love to sit in front of your computer with you and watch these tools and like and see and go, oh, that was your aha. That's so cool. But unfortunately, Erica and I don't get to do that. So I just always like to reiterate that we don't know what we did create and contribute to you
unless you tell us. Thank you, Rebecca. I love how you ask. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Of course.
Well, we will touch bases again soon, no doubt.
We will. Okay. So thank you.
Sure.